Hello everybody and welcome to my Blacksmith Power Leveling and Marketing Guide. In this video we're going to be focusing on a few things, but mostly centered around the conversation of leves. There's obviously things that you want to consider when it comes to the Beastmen tribes, various other factors when it comes to leveling your blacksmith in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. However, this is again going to just focus in on primary leves and how to manage it for profit or at least breaking even when you decide to go ahead and level up your blacksmith. Now, if you're going to consider doing crafting, I would highly encourage you to also check out gathering to kind of complement whatever craft that you want to go in, so that way you can end up having materials easily at your disposal for whatever you need to help reduce overall cost. But beyond that, again, this is going to be focusing in on just the leaves and how you can ideally do this break even or for profit. This also has another side to it, that even if you're not using this to level, here's going to be some things that are usually going to be in demand that you can ideally either sell or decide that if you're sitting on your leave allowances that you can go ahead and use. Now, before we go ahead and dive in, I do want to say welcome to the workforce to Millionaire Mindset, Andrew Chico, M115 Strength 41, I'm assuming, Jake Horn, and Abrielle Plays. Welcome to the workforce. If you guys want to be like these guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video if you like what we do over here at Work To Game, and leave us a comment below. Let us know what you're thinking or if you have any tips for yourself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to this guide. So in order to become a blacksmith, you need to go to the Blacksmith Guild in Limsa Lamenza. You can see it located right here on the map around 10.2 and 15.0, in Limsa Lamenza's upper decks. This is where it all gets started, and honestly, I probably would recommend personally holding off on leaves just as you get started to kind of get a feel for it, because there's really not going to be a lot of value. But regardless of that, we're going to go ahead and start with the leaves that are available once you have unlocked them at level 10 in the main game. So at level 10, that's when you can start to kind of branch out and check out other jobs and classes like the crafting system. So with that unlocked, you come to the guild receptionist, and that is what's going to give you your first hammer so that you can start melting that metal and forging weapons. Same thing also applies if you're interested in armor smith. Different job for a different day and a different guide, but this is where it all kicks off. Now, before we actually head over to the Drowning Winch where you pick up the leaves, I do want to highlight these two NPCs. These guys have a lot of very cheap materials that you can use to buy in quantity. You don't need to go farm these up for yourself. You don't need to go buy these from the market board. Save yourself a lot of time and effort, copper ore, for example, being able to buy that here. So you can buy a lot of this stuff really cheaply and effectively. So also, if you're ever looking for a copper ingot or a brass ingot, this is a good base price. So if you see them on the market for more than this, you know where to go. So again, go check out these guild suppliers. It's going to help save you a lot of money, help also get you started with the materials you need, really to kind of help boost you up to level 15. But beyond that, let's go ahead and show you what the leaves I'm talking about and how I use my method. So to get started, go to Limsa Lamenza's Drowning Winch. You can see it here at 11.0 and 10.9. You're going to talk with the leave meet here and select Tradecraft Leaves. Now, I've got all these leaves unlocked, and we're actually only going to focus in on a few handy ones. What are we focusing in on? Anything that's stackable. So items that require you to make a weapon or a tool, I personally try to avoid. You can, however, use this method and take advantage of them, but this guide's not going to highlight those. So we're going to focus in on Hell's Bells right here. This is 3 bronze ignits. And you can see here the reward right now is at 95. Now the reward will vary. You can see a nice little XP of 480 experience. As a high level one, this isn't going to mean anything to me. As a low level player with 100 leave allowances, using this method can really kind of help feed you a lot of XP and push you past just hard grinding these items, especially from 1 to 50. Now, what do I mean by doing this for profit? Every time I turn in this leave, I'm going to get right now 95. Now again, that's going to vary. The rewards are going to change here, but we're going to use this as a base. To complete this leave, I need to turn in at least 3 bronze ignits. So what that means is that if I can find or craft a bronze ignet for less than 33 gil each, I'm making money on a normal quality. For a high quality, that's going to be at 65 high quality, gil each, because when you turn in a high quality item, the rewards double. Now you might be asking yourself, what is it, a leave allowance? What does this mean? I just see this next to my name. I don't know what that means. Well, Every 12 hours, you're going to get 3 leave allowances, and this is going to stack up to 100. Once it hits 100, you're not going to get another allowance, and they're just going to be sitting there. So this gives you a lot of flexibility when usually leveling another battle class or a gatherer, or in this case, a crafter. So that's the method that we're going to use. The reason I want things that are stackable is I don't want things filling up my armory chest or my inventory. Now, that's because I also multi-craft. I also have all of my jobs at 70. That is why my inventory and my armory chest is typically full. You might not be in that situation, and so you can easily go and take a look at the other leaves here. Now, as you unlock them, some of them, you might have to go out to different camps, different aetherites throughout the course. We're not going to focus in on that because we're just focusing on what can be stacked, what you can craft in bulk, either doing quick craft or what you can buy from the markets. So let's do some math. Yay, yay math. So if you're going to spend, if your break even is 33 gil for a normal or 65 gil for a high quality, not factoring in delivery fees from the market, anything less than 33 gil for a normal or 65 gil for a high quality means you're making money. So just as an example, I went to look up Brogden on the market itself, and they had a number of these that were actually below the price here. So one was at 7 for a stack of 13. Turning those in is going to keep netting me gil. And I'm highlighting the image on the screen for you right now for the ones that were in limbs and lemons at the time, meaning I'm not going to have to pay a delivery fee on that transaction. So if I'm low level, I want to just feed myself some experience, and I find a really good deal on the market like this, you can just buy these up, you can just turn these in, especially if you're just letting those allowances go to waste. But let's go ahead and move on to another example. If you go look at mending fences, this is another level 1. This has a bronze rivets, but you have to actually turn in 5 to complete this leave. So what that means is right now with a reward of 97 or 98, that means you're going to really kind of shoot for a break-even price around 20. So if you can find them for less than 20 each, that's going to be a profit center for you, or less than 40 each for a high quality. That's going to be where you start to make money. But even at a break-even, if you're purchasing them, that's where you're going to break even when you're using this for XP. So next in the line, we're looking at Smelt and Dealt, and this is going to have you turn in 5 iron ignits. So with that, you can see a reward of 186. And so that's going to kind of average around 38 each, or 75 for a high quality for your break even. So if you could find an iron ignit for anything less than 38 or 75 high quality, you're going to be making money. And then just at a bare minimum, with no delivery fees factored into this equation, that's your break even to where you're just using your leave allowances and it's not really costing you. So you're not even buying experience, you're just kind of trading it for your leave allowances that are continually going to fill up. So even if you're thinking about this as a natural cadence in your day or in your week, being that you get 42 leave allowances per week, you can easily just kind of see and make sure that you aren't sitting on those, especially if you don't have these crafting and gatherers leveled up. This is more like watch a market, fill it in, buy it when it's either break even or lower where you're making a little money, and then just power level up your craftings and gatherers. Next one we want to focus in on riveting run here, which is just a handful of iron rivets. You just have to actually turn in 1 for this. So from a break-even price right now, you'd be looking at anything that's less than 133 or 260 for your turn-ins for high quality. So you would be very easily profitable for that 3,000 experience per turn-in, and easily anywhere from 133 to 260 gil each. Unfortunately for the blacksmith, this is where everything turns into crafting a file or a tool or a weapon, and those things aren't really going to stack up. So be wary of that. You can easily do this. In fact, again, same kind of principle applies. Look at what the reward is paying you, and if you can find that item for less than that, or if you can craft it for less than that, you're going to be either breaking even or you're going to be profitable. But again, I kind of focus in on the turn-ins. And on the flip side, if you're looking and you don't need the experience, these could be ways that you could generate some money for yourself if you find a way, because there's always going to be a demand for these items because people might be able to come and acquire them. Or if you find a really good deal and you're just wasting leaves themselves and you have nothing, no need for them, you can easily go and acquire those, turn those in, and get the additional gil. Again, watch your market fees if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you buy from the same market of the city that you're in, you won't have to you won't have to pay a fee. Otherwise you will, and sometimes that can actually throw off your cost projections there. And with that, once you hit level 50, doing your crafting and your power leveling through this leaves method is so much easier, because from 50 to 60 you get to come here to Ishgard and talk to the temple leave meet, and then from 60 to 70 you get to be in Coogana and turn those in as well. And the turn-ins are going to be right next door, which is really handy. So let's go ahead and show you what I mean by this. So go back to Tradecraft Leaves, and then at level 50 you're going to be looking for the bearings straight. Now, based off the reward here, you actually are going to be turning in 5 meteorite nuggets to complete this. The reward here is at 572 for that turn in. So what you want to be looking for this, around this level is around 113 to break even for normal, or 225 to break even for around high quality. Of course, the math is going to vary here depending on the reward. So just kind of give it a take. This is just a rough estimate for you to kind of set your mindset, because thankfully the reward doesn't jump up too dramatically. But again, that high quality is going to give you that double reward turn in for yourself. The next jump is going to come here at level 56 with Unbreaker. This is going to have you turn in 3 titanium ignits. So around kind of 832 ish, or like 816, sometimes somewhere around there in terms of your cost. Be looking for around like 272, 275, 280 for your reward structure here. So for your break-even price on a normal, think about 272 to 280, or around 544 for a high quality item for your turn-ins. So kind of play around with that. That's going to end up working out real well for you to break even. Anything that you find less than that each is going to profit center you. It just can feed you that gil. And then if you're using it for experience, you're leveling for less than the cost of the item itself. Now, then again, like we said at the beginning of this video, try to marry your crafting with a gathering kind of perspective, because these are items and things that you might find constantly in demand, constantly on the move, which can help feed you plenty of gil throughout the whole thing. Then we're going to jump up to Through Thick and Thin at level 58. This is adamantite nuggets here with a turn in of 3. So look at your reward and then essentially divide by 3, and that's going to be your break-even price here. So for me, typically I would say anywhere from 280 to 290 on a normal, versus versus a 260 to 270, 280 for a high quality. Sorry, 560, 580 for a high quality for that turn in, to be able to take advantage of the break-even or anything less than profitable. That pretty much wraps us up for this. You'll continue to turn in those Unbreakers or the Through Thick and Thins until you hit level 60, because that way you can buy up a whole stack and then go from there, or you can craft up a whole stack and go from there and save on your inventory space. Our next stop takes us to Coogana. So in Coogana, we have kind of 3 tiers here. The first one is at level 60, High Steel Nugget. The beautiful thing about this is that you only need to turn in 1. So look at that turn in of 1 and look at your reward, and that is your break-even price. So if you find these listed for anything less than that break-even price, make that money. Otherwise, if you're just using it for leveling, you can go ahead and purchase the stacks of those, and that way you can easily just turn through these and boost yourself up with an experience. So times it by 2 for your high qualities. Now we're going to jump to your level 64, which you're going to be looking for your metal and metal leave here. This is I can't pronounce it, Orushagrani Ignite, and this is also a turn in of 1. So easy math, you can look at your reward structure and turn that in. Again, times it by 2 for your high quality turn-ins, which is going to feed you with obviously more XP than anything else. And regardless of it, you can just keep, even if it's a multi-turn-in, you can just keep turning those in. So look for that price, because we're looking at it on a per individual turn-in. And your final step here is going to be Ignite or Wing It, for a multibendulum ignite with, again, a turn of 1. The 60 to 70 is so simple for Blacksmith, because essentially the easy math that you have here. Now, if you're looking to craft this stuff yourself, finally, I've given you the items, and you can look at and do the math yourself depending on your rewards, whether you want to purchase or if you want to just craft. If you're crafting it and you have the materials, because again, you're teaming up with your gatherer and leveling them up as well, you're just feeding yourself plenty of your gil. You're going to be getting this reward every time you turn it in, and that's a beautiful thing. So again, you kind of structure it the best way that you can for your time investment. I honestly love using the leave kind of turn-in system to kind of blast past and blast through these levels. Don't forget to obviously take advantage of your beastman tribes, and that's not necessarily what this guide covers. This is to hopefully tell you one of two things. If you're leveling and you want to do it for cheap, team up with this on the cost. Sometimes the materials themselves to purchase them are quite expensive. And the other reason why I actually focus in on this method is that typically these crafts, to make those ignits, to make these different things, the recipes are actually very simple and also very easily to be afforded. Then again, on the flip side, if you're looking to try to profit the most and you don't need to turn in leaves for experience, or you just want to know what's going to sell easily well on the market, if you think about this price structure, you know where to target your price and you know that people are going to either purchase this and you could try to go for some market dominance. Either way you want to use this guide. Hopefully this has been a help. Now, if you are crafting itself, this is going to be something where when you're making the items themselves, you want to factor that into the price, because if it costs you more money to make the item, you're going to have to do some conversions when it comes to the EXP per craft. Because again, if you can purchase the item outright and turn it in with your leave allowances, you're only gated by that. Now, when you go and you craft the items, you're going to feed yourself with additional experience. But take a look at the overall cost. Where is the cheapest way and cheapest point of entry? Sometimes it's starting right from scratch with taking everything, making it into nuggets, and then turning it into the ignits. Maybe it's starting with the nuggets and then turning it into ignits. But either way, like, don't be obsessed with the fact if you feel like you have to actually make all the items to turn them in. You can actually do that at a loss depending on where the final price is structured. Anyway, hopefully this has been a help. Hopefully I've given you some information here to kind of help you A, watch the markets, B, be aware of the leaves, and then C, pre-craft the items that you need. You can start crafting some of these items before you hit that level in which that you're turning them in. I do that when I want to look and see like, hey, I know I don't have a stackable item until 64. What should I be making so that when I actually craft and level up and hit 64, all of a sudden I'm ready to go, and then I can just turn those in, and all of a sudden I go from 64 to 70 and I'm at cap. Wow, it feels good. It really helps to kind of level it up. And so the last bit of point of this is that I'm going to be putting out different guides on the different crafters, kind of focusing around this method. So if you have tips or things that you really think I need to point out in my future guides, be sure to leave them in the comments below. But the other thing I just want to say before I go is that it's highly important that you focus in on finishing a craft. You can sit here and try and focus in on all of them, but that's going to require an insane amount of discipline. And you might be that disciplined individual, and for that I cheer you and I root for you and way to be better than I am. But I find that I get more victory and more motivation from actually finishing the job itself. So with that, if you're that kind of person, if you're like me, finishing one craft and then focusing on another helps. There is an exception though to this rule. It might be more valuable to you to be able to get at least your crafts up to level 50, so that from an omni crafting perspective, you can take advantage of some cross-class abilities, which is going to make it overall easier to craft these items for turn-in, because sometimes the market prices are not going to be profitable for you no matter what week you look at them. So you're going to have to do some crafting when it all comes down to it. But again, maybe the best way to forward is to get to 50, and then you go and say, yep, I'm going to take Blacksmith all the way to 70. Next, I'm going to take, my next, craft all the way to 70. Let me know what ones you want me to focus in on next in the comments below. Thanks again to all our new workforce members. We're really glad you're here. For Work To Game, my name's Brian. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Hey, it's me. It's been a while since I talked to you guys directly this way, but don't tell anybody. We've got even more epic content planned for this channel. The response has been incredible. We hope to see you. If you're new, hit subscribe, leave us a comment. I'd like to talk to you more about video games. I can't seem to speak my language. All right.